Let's see. All right, looks like we are live. Hello, everyone. My name is Brian. I'm here from Symbaloo. And today we have a very special guest. We have Dr. Desiree Alexander from Alexander's, or Educator Alex. Before we get started, we'll be taking a few moments just to have everyone introduce themselves. We see a lot of you are coming from all over the world, which is wonderful. Welcome, everyone. Just so that we can give those that may be running a little bit late some time to join, please go ahead and let us know where you're from, what you do, what you teach. And yeah, say hello, and Dr. Alex and I will say hello.
Hi, everybody from all over the world. I am Dr. Desiree Alexander, and I am the founder, CEO of Educator Alexander Consulting. I also work for an educational nonprofit in the state of Louisiana. So hello, everybody.
Wow. Thank you for being here today.
I appreciate it.
Wow, yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to share what you have going on here and showing everyone how you get organized, both on the education side and in your personal life.
Yeah.
Let's see where people are joining us from. We have New Jersey, we have Minnesota, Nova Scotia, Canada. Hi from Los Angeles. Oh yes, missing home. North Carolina. Washington State. Hi from Texas. Hello, everyone. Wow, this is awesome. This is a great crowd.
Yeah, I see Nova Scotia, Romania, Peru, Canada,
Uruguay. Wow. Hello, everyone. All right, we'll take another minute or so here, another 30 seconds, and then we can get started. All righty. And then just so that everyone knows, everyone that's joining us here today, the webinar is being recorded. If you are joining us and are on the YouTube channel, you will be able to access this link, afterwards so that you can reference it back if you want to take some notes or whatever it may be. You'll be able to find all this, again, recorded and saved on our YouTube channel. We will also be sending you an email post-webinar with some resources and just some information about the webinar. So without further ado, Doctor, please go ahead and let's get on with the show.
Woohoo! Okay, so let me All right, hello everyone. This is Living, Learning, and Organizing with Symbaloo. I have been a Symbaloo user for years with a whole bunch of S's on it. And it only gets better with time. So I want to show you today how to personalize and organize your Symbaloo. So it's not just a bunch of different tiles. Like, how can you make it very much more personalized? So that's what we're going to do today. I'm very, very excited. I am Dr. Desiree Alexander, like I said earlier. So you can, this is me. I've already kind of told you what I did, so I'll move past that. This is how you can contact me on the Twitter. I'm at Educator Alex. All other social media, including YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all those good things. I'm Educator Alexander. And I always like to say, if you can get to my website, you can get to me. So my website is educatoralexander.com. And as long as you can get there, you can find everything that you need to find, including some of my Symbaloos. What? All right. So we're going to do this in two different parts. So the first part is going to be, how do I use Symbaloo? And when I say that, it's not Symbaloo basic. Like, it's not like, this is how you create your account. We're actually going to give you a resource to do that a little bit later. So I want to hop into, I'm already using Symbaloo. How can I make it more personalized? Then we're going to come back and look at some examples of how people have used it to organize their life and learning. And I'll be pointing out some stuff as we go. So I'm going to get off of the slideshow and let's get into our Symbaloo. I thought I heard some background. Okay, so I'm going to get into the Symbaloo. So I wanted to
Dr. Alex, if you don't mind, let me actually just say one thing before you get started. If anyone has any questions, please go ahead and type them into the box. We'll be collecting all the questions and hosting a little Q&A after the webinar, just so everyone knows. We'll answer some of your questions afterward. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and me and Brian, we're going to be like tag teaming on this. So Brian's going to chime in. I may go, Brian, what do you think about, like, we're going to be tag teaming this. So just keep that in mind. So I was going to show you a couple of examples before we hop in, just in case you're like, what Symbaloo? And I'm so sorry that your life has been missing Symbaloo. I apologize. But no more, because you're going to be able to do this now. And I do have my Symbaloo shirt on. I just wanted to show. So I am representing my Symbaloo. So this is an example of a Symbaloo. I like to think about it as visual bookmarks, but Symbaloo has updated through the years where it's not just bookmarks anymore. You can actually put documents, you can put videos, you can put all types of stuff on your what's called a web mix. So this is one that I use. If anyone's heard me tell my story about me becoming a presenter, so this tells you how long I've been using Symbaloo. When I first became a presenter, or first started presenting, I will only present one session, and that is 50 plus tech tools. And when I say everywhere I went, I presented 50 plus tech tools. And they were like, can you present this? I was like, I can do 50 plus tech tools. And that's all I presented. And this is how I presented it, was using my Symbaloo. So this was my 50 plus tech tools. And you can see it was very bright and colorful. You can see all the little symbols. So we want to talk about doing this, but doing it in an even more organized way than you see right here. I also did 10 plus tech tools for librarians, because I started my career as a 6th grade and 8th grade English teacher, became a high school English teacher, a middle school librarian, a high school librarian, and then a district level instructional technology supervisor. So that's been kind of like my 19 years in education so far. So I created this one specifically for librarians, for tools that can help them in different ways. 2 more examples before we hop in. So, go right ahead.
Oh, no, I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. I'm hearing background. Okay, sorry. So this is one that is more visual with people's pictures. So this is actually from Classroom 2.0 Live. I don't know if they're still doing webinars, but they used to. And this was from 2017 that they put all of the webinars they did on here. And you can see, I'm going to show you how to do some of these tricks. So you see how they put 9th anniversary celebration, and it kind of spells it out. Our Classroom 2.0 Live, and it spells it out. I'm going to show you how to do those kind of tricks, and how to put people's pictures and things like that here that makes it a little bit more interactive. And then this is just another one. You see how organized it is with color. So we have color coordination. Oh, we're about to get into all this. So if you're excited, go ahead and put that in the chat, because I'm ready to go. I don't know. You may be sleeping. I don't know. Go ahead and put it in the chat. Are you excited? Are you ready to go? Because I am. So I am going to create a new web mix. So I'm just going to click this little plus sign right here and create a new web mix. I do want to say right here is I am using a paid account. That's why I don't have ads. So if you do have the free account, you will have some ads. Honestly, I used the free account for years. The ads never bothered me. So, different strokes. But it did take away the ads. So if you're looking at mine going, where are those ads on the side? That's why I don't have them. Brian, do you want to say anything more about that?
Yeah, so just to clarify on the different account types, we do, as many of you know, if you are Symbaloo users, we have various account types, and We have the Symbaloo personal, just a standard personal account, which is without our Symbaloo Pro web spaces. We will get into that in a little while, but the personal accounts do have ads. And then we have two different, bases of the Pro version, where we have a free Pro version for teachers that does have ads, though you get the functionality of the Pro account with some limited features. But then you have the paid version, and the paid version extends from the teacher version down to school, and even all the way down to the or up to the district level. So depending on how you use Symbaloo, how many resources and how many classrooms or campuses you're trying to share these resources through, the different account types will allow you to execute some of that stuff and distribute your content.
What? Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start a new web mix so we can get into this personalization. So I'm going to click the plus sign, and I'm just going to call it delete, because I am going to delete this sample one later. So this is how you can create a brand new web mix, because you can have, all the Symbaloos. So I'm going to click add, and now I have a brand new web mix that's ready to go. So I want to start building my tiles. So that's what's going to actually lead to wherever you want your student or your life or yourself to go. So when I click add a new tile here, I need to give it a website. So what that means for you is if you want to do a video, which I'll show you how to do, if you want to do a document, whatever we want to do, it has to have a URL. So that means if you want to put it in Microsoft Teams, if you want to put it in Google Drive and get that share link, that's what you would use. So it has to have a URL. Just keep that in mind. So I'm going to use my website URL. Why not? So I'm going to use educatoralexander.com, and then that way we won't have to create URLs for everything. So, and notice you can just search right here too. So this is a nice search. But I'm just going to go ahead and paste and hit add tile. That's how I add a bookmark. That's how I add a tile. So look, it kind of put just a random picture from my website here. And I'm like, well, that doesn't look too engaging. Even I wouldn't want to see that every day. So I need to edit this tile. So I'm going to right click on the tile and hit edit. And a whole world opens up for me. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to change the color of my tile. So I'm going to change it to blue and then hit save. So notice behind the picture is a color. So I want you to remember when you change the color of the tile, it changes behind what your picture is. Okay. So I'm going to come back here and edit. And I don't like what that picture is. So I do want to change it. Now I have two different ways of doing that. So I can do choose image or choose icon. Now, if I do choose image, you see that it gives me a couple of images. So if I'm like, yep, that's perfect, whatever. Now it has that little tiny image on it. That still doesn't look good enough for me. So I'm going to edit. And I'm going to upload an image. So when I click uploading image, it's going to say, okay, well, what do you want to upload? So I'm just going to say choose file. And I'm going to upload an image of me. Why not? So I'm just going to double click upload, and it's always going to tell you to crop. Now, the good thing about this crop is that you see how they have these little, things on it, the little buttons. So you can make this as big as you can, and then go ahead and crop whatever you want to be seen and click use. And then I'm going to click save. So notice now I have a picture there. Now to me, that's much more engaging. If I wanted my students to look at historical figures, put their picture there, right? So I like having that kind of personalization. If I wanted to make a phone directory for my company or for my school, I can put the teacher's pictures there. It makes it, again, a little bit more engaging. But I'm not done with this. So I'm going to right click and hit edit again. So you notice I have the picture, but I don't want it to say home, home. Like, what is that? What is home, home? So I can change this. So if I want to change it to Dr. D, Now it's my image and it says Dr. D. But what if I don't want words on there at all? I'm going to edit. And I can say, I don't want text to show. So you see how it's kind of showing you how it's going to look right up here. You don't have to keep clicking the X to see it or, save, because that may not be what I want. But I don't have to show the text. So if I wanted to say no text, save, now it's just the picture there. So it's really up to you if you want to label each tile with text or if you just want the picture. I'm not done. Of course I'm not done. Well, what I'm going to do is I like my tile how it is. So I'm going to go to a new tile. I'm going to put the same website. Why not? Just to save time. And now I want to do what I showed you, where they took one picture and made it different tiles. So the tiles would kind of spell out something. It's never going to be perfect, but it looks really awesome. And I'm going to show you some examples later of schools who have done it. And it just looks really, really engaging. So I'm going to, again, right-click and edit. And I'm going to upload an image. Now, for this to work, I need a longer image, right? I need something that I can kind of cut in chunks. So I'm going to use the minions. Why not? They're awesome. They're yellow. So I'm going to come here, upload. And for this tile, I only want a part of the picture. So even though I can make it, a little bit bigger, I usually just kind of cut it off where I want to cut it off. So I'm going to cut it off kind of right at their arms and click Use Select Tile, Selection to Tile, and click Save. So then you can kind of guess where I'm going with this. When I go to the next tile and I edit, I'm going to repeat this same process. And when I saw somebody do this for the first time, I was like, genius. Why didn't I think about doing that myself? So I'm going to kind of take part of, where his little arm ended. I can even kind of get a little bit more picky if I wanted to, but that's good enough for me. Select. And then, of course, I can keep it going just to show you the rest of the picture. And then we're going to see if we have any questions before we go even more into doing this. This makes me so excited. I'm such a geek for Symbaloo, guys. All right. So you see that now I have kind of an ongoing picture, and it looks really awesome on my Symbaloo. It looks kind of engaging. I'm like, okay, I can click, and I see it's telling a story on my Symbaloo. So I'm going to stop right here and see if we have any questions before I continue.
I don't see any questions at the moment, but if they do have questions, we'll be collecting those, and then we can go through the FAQ after the webinar.
At the end. Okay. So I'm not going to stop for questions then, so we can go through them at the end. So let's do another tile. Perfect. And I'm going to right-click and edit. And so the only thing I've shown you on here are the colors and choose image. Now I want to choose an icon. So one of the things when I first started using Symbaloo, I'm going to get this text off, that they had, a bunch of different icons that you can use. And I was like, okay, that's awesome. But now you can actually click on where it says symbols, and you have a bunch of different types of icons. So just because you click choose icon, don't forget that there's a whole bunch more than the first ones that pop up. So I want to use ABC. I get excited about this. So if I wanted to do this, let's say for my school, and I wanted one Symbaloo for first period, second period, third period, fourth period, I wanted to put a bunch of information for my school on one Symbaloo. Well, you have all the letters and numbers right here. So if I wanted to say this is the link to first period, I have my little number 1 here. If I wanted to do one for second period, third period, you get my point. And Let's say I want to spell out my name. Why? Because my name is awesome. So if I want to come here and choose icon, I can start with the D. You get my point. I'm not going to go through my whole name, but I can come here and just spell out the school's name, spell out my name, do whatever I want to. Just understand that each one of these has to go somewhere. So you can't just put the pictures and they don't go anywhere, if that makes sense. So when you do, as soon as you click on the, on the tile, it's going to ask you, where do you want it to go? So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to put I guess I'll put the R, since that's the only thing that's 2 letters in my name, even though it's not officially part of my name, but that's okay. We'll be okay. If I can find the R, there you go. All right, so there you go. So this is how you can really get started making Symbaloo your own. When you get all the tiles on here that you want, or as you're building it, you can move these around. So if I wanted my picture to be back here, like, oh, look, that works. Dr. Desiree. So you can kind of move these around as you want them to be moved. So I want to talk now about the organization of it all. This is kind of making it cute, and we'll do a couple of more making it cute tips in a second, but I want to talk a little bit more about organizing it. So I'm actually going to put these over here too. I'm just kind of putting everything in one big area for a reason. So if I want to make a group of tiles, I know that these are all of the science tools that I want my students to use. Or I know these are all of the documents for my child's doctor's appointment. I want to put them all in one group. To group things, you're going to take one of your tiles that's already completed, and you're going to drag it over the other tile. Now, the mistake that I make all the time is I'll do this. Why isn't it going? Why isn't it doing it? So just keep in mind, when you drag it, you have to hold on for a second, be patient, and then you'll see it pop up. Okay, and I do that all the time. I'm like, why isn't it working today? And I'm like, okay, be patient, Desiree. So if you drag it over, it lets you put this one. You have 4 boxes. It's kind of hard to see, but you have 4 boxes here. So you notice how this is now in one, and it's a group. So if someone clicks on this, they're going to see all the things in this group. What? Now, of course, I also want to edit my group. So I can right click on it and go to edit. And this is where I can choose the text and the picture and kind of everything we just talked about. So I'll make it pink in the background, and I'll choose an emoji because I'm not angry. No. And I'm going to call this awesome group, because I can. And you notice you can put, this that has the white text or the dark text.
Yeah, and that will, that just depends on the background color. So that way it gives you the option to view the text better, for sure.
So there you go. Oh, it went away. I guess because you can't do dark text on black. So
yeah.
So there you go. I have my group. So I'm going to save this. Now, if you notice, when I click on this, I only can have 4. So I have some people kind of bummed out. They're like, yeah, I like it, but I want 6 in there, not 4. Well, you can expand it. So if I right click on it, notice it says edit folder size. So if I click edit folder size, now I can say, what? I can put as many of them as I want to. Now, grouping is a really awesome tool if you want your Symbaloo to have 1 million links. Don't do that. But if you want your Symbaloo to have 1 million links, once you start expanding your symbol, it can get kind of like, okay, I have to scroll all the way over here to see. So you don't want that to happen. That's where groups are going to help you a lot, because you can just kind of organize them into one, and then they can see the rest. But wait, there's more. So I want to take this and I want to pull it back out. I don't want it in the group anymore. So I can click ungroup. I don't know where my R went, but that's fine. All right, so ungrouped. And now I want other ways to organize it. So one way I kind of already talked about, but I didn't show you, is like we talked about the background color. So if I come here and add a couple of tiles, and and I want to come here and edit, I'm going to put, the same little icon on all of them. I didn't press save. Don't forget to press save. That was a good mistake to make. Don't forget to press save. And then edit and put another happy face on it. So one way you can organize is to just use simply the background color. So you can group, you can use the background color. So if I come here to edit, I can say I want all of these background colors to be this kind of teal blue. And then when I come here and do other ones, I can put all of these in pink and I can put all of these in yellow. So that way it's very much visual that, hey, all of the ones in the teal deal with bills. All of the one in yellow deals with our schedules. All of the ones in red deal with our health. So you can really make your Symbaloo very visually pleasing and make it logically organized by doing that. But wait, there's more. Another way that you can organize this is by using markers. So this is, we've been kind of right-clicking and editing a lot to get to a lot of the stuff that we want to get to. But for this one, we're actually going to use the settings button up here. Okay, so not right-click for this one. Now we're going to the settings button. So if I come here to the settings button, you see it says add a new marker. So if I click add a new marker, notice my mouse changed to a plus sign. That's because I can now draw. And it doesn't have to be ones that are already done. I can add it to a different section too. So if I want to make this a section, I can come here and drag. Right? But you may be like, well, Desiree, what happened? Because it's just white. But that's because my color is white. Now, sometimes my computer does something. It may just be my computer. Let's see what happens. If I click on the white, see, sometimes it makes me refresh. It may be my computer. I'm not sure. But I'm going to click on settings again. So when I click on the white, I can change the background color of the marker, of the group. So I'm going to come here and say red. What? And then I can come here and add another marker. Again, it doesn't have to be ones that are already done. So I can say, well, I know later I'm going to mark all these. Again, I don't know why it does that. But I'm going to mark all these, and I want that to be blue. So notice I'm not making the background of every tile a different color, but I'm marking a whole section as a color. So that's really helpful because you can organize not by kind of right click, but you can do it in a quicker way, and it still is color coordinated for you, your students, or whoever you're using it for. Markers are fun. Okay.
Yeah, this is great.
I'm having fun. And I don't even know if y'all are still here. I'm gonna have
We do. We have a
here. I don't even know if people are still here, but I'm having a ball with my Symbaloo.
Yep, we have about 125 people here right now.
Well, welcome to the party, everybody. Okay. So I'm just having fun by myself. So I'm going to click settings again, because if you've noticed, the background has been updating and changing. And I know for some of you, but you've been like, that is driving me crazy. Please stop. I'm sorry. But I want it to go in a logical order. So you can change your background picture. That again is under settings. So I didn't want to click on 50 buttons at the same time. So under settings, I can change wallpaper. So there's some already here for you. So if I say, oh, I want to be underwater. Okay. Or I just want a certain color, right? Sometimes solid colors are best depending on what you're going to do with it. So you saw one of my first ones was solid purple. So sometimes those, don't sleep on the solid colors. Sometimes that's what you want to just kind of not have all that stuff in the background. But you can also upload your own image. So if I wanted to upload, let's upload baby Groot for this one. So choose selected wallpaper. And now I have baby Groot, because I mean, who doesn't? Don't admit it if you do not love baby Groot. So we have baby Groot in the background now. So you can put your own image in the background as well. And then it won't keep changing. It's going to, like, that's your static background. So that's going to be your background, whether you send whoever or you're using Symbaloo in Symbaloo, or if you embed it in a website. And I will show it to you embedded in a website in a second before we go through some examples. So under settings as well, you can rename your web mix. So you see how mine is called delete. If I want to come here and say, well, I don't want it to be called delete. You can come here and rename it. And of course, people are going to see the name. So you want to make sure if you are going to share this with other people that the name, like, don't just name it for yourself and then be like, oh, I shouldn't have named it that. I feel so ashamed. So make sure that you name it something appropriate. And you can also choose an icon. So you notice how these have little locks on them. We'll talk about that in a second. But I can choose like a little, like, now it has an owl by it. Yay. I mean, is that going to change the world? No, but you can choose your icon. I mean, it's not,
yeah, it's also a great way to just help you find a web mix. If you have tons of them, you can look for the specific icon, and again, part of the personalization and
right,
fun stuff with Symbaloo.
Right. And about the last thing I'm going to show you with this before we talk about adding web mixes and using our own bookmarks as web mixes is resizing your whole web mix. So if you looked at the very first one that I had, this one was way more than this one, right? And you may be like, well, how did she get extra tiles? Well, this is how you get extra tiles. So let me go back to if I come here to settings, I can resize my web mix. So just like you resize your grouping, if I come here to resize web mix, I get those same little arrows. So I can come here and go, what? Now I have a whole bunch more. And I can come at the bottom, what? Now I have a whole row. This is where I want to warn you, because you don't want to make it too big. If you make it, like, I've seen web mixes where you're going, you keep scrolling, or if you have to search for everything, then that's kind of defeating the purpose of this being a quick tool to get to what you want to get to. That's just my personal.
Doctor, may I add something, Doctor?
Please do.
Yeah, so for the web mixes, in regards to resizing here as well, Symbaloo is accessible through different devices. So it can be on your iPad, on a phone, different tablets and things like that. So the resolutions are different. The more you resize and kind of add additional columns, the harder it'll be for your students to access those resources. So just be wary of that. And, whatever's easier, you can always test it yourself on your phone. But we are, again, currently working on some new updates for Symbaloo internally that should help make things a little easier in regards to mobile navigation and the mobile setting or landscape of Symbaloo. So I just wanted to point that out as well.
Thank you for that. And yeah, like anytime, come on in.
Yeah. Well, actually, one more thing regarding the while we're here, before you move forward, if you can open up that settings menu once more there, down in the new marked areas, the markers. If you want, do you want to explain those little icons? Or I can explain them there. Yeah, so on the far left-hand side, you have a little trash can. So any of the markers that you've created, you can actually just click on that to remove the marked area. So if you want to remove that little blue or purple one down at the bottom, that'll be gone. The one next to that, the icon next to the little trash can, is the little four tiles. That'll actually turn any of the marked areas into a group folder. So if you have another, set of 6 or 8 tiles, if you want to go ahead and click on that, Doctor, so you can show them, that'll turn that into a new grouped folder, just like you showed them earlier. This is just another way to go about that and quickly do it there. So that way you don't have to drag and drop them one over another. This is just a little bit of a shortcut there if you have a lot. So yeah, and then just as you've shown them how to resize it, that little last icon allows you to resize the marked area. So you can drag over a new set of tiles or additional tiles that you may have added, down the line when you're editing your web mix and adding new resources. So I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you for that. Jump in, Brian. I'm like, we are all family here. Okay, so
yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Thank you. And the last thing I want to show you under settings before we kind of move on is you can make your web mix transparent. So you see how like I can see my picture behind the tiles. Some people, don't want that and they want to make the tiles a little bit darker. So now I kind of put a darker underlay, if you want to call it that, behind, or you can kind of not have that. So that's up to you as well. Okay, so we personalized. Now I want to show you how to bring your bookmarks in and how to find other people's web mixes. And then we're going to look at some examples and have some questions. So notice when I hit that plus sign in the beginning, I put the word delete and I add it. But on this side, you can add existing web mixes. So this is kind of just like mind-blowing. When people create their web mixes and they share it, you can go get it. So if I'm looking for, I have no clue, shopping, because I like to shop. I don't, but you get the point. And I'll go ahead and click search. Notice I kind of went real quickly. They did have some filtering. So mine is filtered to United States, but you can filter it to all of these amazing countries. And there you go. So you can be looking for like users that have more, that kind of stuff. So you can use your filtering. But I'm just going to click on one just to kind of go pretty quickly. So yes, I like price comparison sites. And it kind of lets you see it first. If you're like, you don't have to use it. So you can just like click on Symbaloo again and go back. But if I do like it, I'm like, yes, I can click add this web mix. And that's how you get all of these different web mixes up here. But you see that it has a lock on it. So what the lock means is that this person, the person that created this, still owns this web mix. The good thing for you is that as they update it, you will see the updated one. So you don't have to.
So you're basically.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. Yes, you're basically following and subscribe to their web mix in a way, as you were mentioning, Doctor, that they'll receive any updates that they make. So if they add new tiles or resize it, any of those changes, as long as you still have that little padlock at the top of the tab there, that means that you're connected and more so following their resources, their web mix here. Right. But I'll let you go ahead and show on the next step here. Okay. What else you can do.
Okay. So you're pretty much, as they make changes, like he said, you're going to see those changes. Now, because you see the little lock, and if you're like, I can't see that, that's okay. Because it also tells you right here that you are following their web mix. So it tells you, like if you just hover over, it tells you everything that Brian just said. You're following, you'll continue to receive updates, blah, blah, blah. Now, what if I want to take this web mix and I'm like, I want to update it myself. Like I want to take this and take the work they've done and add to it. Well, if they allow you to, you can. So you can come here and click on following, and it's kind of small. Sometimes I'm missing. I'm like, where is it? So you can click right here. It's kind of small. It's kind of gray, a little light gray, but it says stop updates and enable editing. And so if I click that, notice what happens. The lock, the following button is missing. Let me go back to that one. The lock is now missing. That's because this is now my web mix. So I'm not following theirs anymore, which means if they make a whole bunch of updates, I'm not going to see it. You pretty much made a copy of the web mix. So now I can edit this one the same way you can edit, like see, add a tile. So you can edit this one the same way you can edit one that you've done yourself. Any other comments about that, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, not really. You can just as you stated, you can add your own tiles, add your own resources to it, delete whatever you want here. You basically made a nice little timestamp copy of someone's web mix. And that is all part of, the Symbaloo ecosystem here, is that if you decide to share your web mixes publicly within our gallery, that means you're allowing others to follow your web mix and also use these web mixes as templates for themselves. And then they can, again, take a little copy of that by unfollowing and disabling those the follow feature there, and you can make it your own and redistribute it that way. This is also just a great way for anyone new to Symbaloo to kind of dig through the gallery, find out and see what people are doing with their web mixes, how they're getting creative with it, what type of resources are being shared. There are a ton of different subjects, different languages. You can search for web mixes from different countries if you're teaching another language, and you want a head start on putting together those resources. So you might find some cool stuff in there. So I definitely encourage everyone to take a look at the Symbaloo web mix gallery. And if you want to show them how else they can access it, Doctor, they can just click on the user icon at the top right, and it'll say Symbaloo gallery there. Yeah, the far right. So no, you can search. Yeah, you can search here. You can search web mixes, tiles, and then also if they want to just access the gallery directly, they will just click on their user profile icon at the far right. So go ahead and go on the far right with your photo. There you go. And then you'll see down in the middle section, Symbaloo gallery. Yeah. So then you can click on that, and then it'll take you to like the little search page where you can type in a keyword, a subject, whatever it may be. But again, we'll be providing you with a slide deck. It's the Symbaloo Getting Started manual that shows you a lot of these features here. Basically, just about everything you need to know about Symbaloo and how to navigate and what you can and can't do. So keep an eye out for that post-webinar email with a lot of these resources. And please ensure to check your spam or junk box if you don't have us as a contact. Sometimes they end up arriving in there. But you can also reach out to us if you never received it.
Okay, so last two things I want to show before we get to examples and then question and answer. I want to leave some time for that. So if I want to remove, so I can come here to the three dots to make sure that you're on the Symbaloo, and I can just click remove, because sometimes you'll follow something and you're like, or you'll create one, you're like, So just make sure that you do have to type the word delete, because Symbaloo's like, don't call us. If you can't delete by mistake. You have to type the word delete every single time. So then the web mix is gone forever. But the thing is, I got this web mix from the gallery, so I can just go get it again. But that's if the person hasn't deleted their own web mix. So be careful before you just start deleting stuff. So yes. The last thing I want to show you before we go through some examples is, and I'm so sorry, I never go to my name for the gallery. So I was like, I don't know what he's talking about. But yeah, he's correct. But I do come here to import bookmarks. So I just want to show you kind of where to go to do that, but I'm not going to go through the whole process, and I'll tell you why in a second. So if I come here, this is where you can get to your account and all that good stuff, but that's not the point of our time together. So I'm going to go to Preferences. And I have Bookmark Importer, because remember, this is about organizing your life. So a lot of us have bookmarks in Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, like Firefox, whatever we use, we have favorites or bookmarks. Well, Symbaloo, in their infinite wisdom, has made a bookmark importer to make it super easy for you to take your bookmarks and just import them into Symbaloo. So if you click Bookmark Importer, and where did I go for that? Just to repeat, I went to my name and went to Preferences, and then Bookmark Importer. Because I didn't know, I was like, oh, when I learned about this, I was like, yay. So it tells you, because I clicked that let me try to go back to the first page. Because I clicked that I was using Google, it's going to give me directions. So if I say, well, I'm using Yahoo, it'll give me directions for Yahoo. But I am using Google Bookmark Importer, and then it tells you kind of what to do. So whatever you're going to use, most of the time, you're going to download your bookmarks. Now, I'm not going to get into that because it depends on what web tool you use. But it tells you on the screen what to do. So I've already downloaded my bookmarks. So it tells you what to do. And then you choose the file to upload them. So I've already downloaded them. They're ready to go. And now I'm not going to click this, but then they would upload. Now, the only thing I want to warn you about with that, I'm going to click Symbaloo to go back. The only thing I want to warn you about is if you're like me, like this is my trainer account, so I don't have a whole bunch of stuff in here. But if you're like me, you have folders for bookmarks and folders and folders and folders. So the one thing I want to warn you about is when you import, it's going to make a separate web mix per folder. So just it's not going to put everything on one, which you probably don't want because it probably will make your Symbaloo really big, right? So it's going to take each folder, which I was like, okay, awesome. So it took each folder and made a separate web mix for it. So just keep that in mind if you're going to import your bookmarks. Let's look at some examples so we can stop and take questions. So you see that I have like a million web mixes here, and that's for this training because I wanted to show you some examples of using it in your real life and using it in your school life. So this is a really good example of using your markers, right, in action. And notice I was one of those people with Symbaloo. I hated empty tiles. Like I was like, no, empty tiles. But notice how the empty tiles puts nice space, like almost like white space in between your markers. So I looked at this and like, okay, I like that. It puts space where you can kind of see everything's not just bunched together. So this is a really good one for space and for office organization. So if you go to all these different places to shop, put your shopping stuff on here. Why not? You're into certain types of music. So this is all types of radio stations that play classical music. If you're like me, you now subscribe to 50,000 TV and movie channels, right? I love life in 2021. So I can put all those on a Symbaloo, especially since so many of us are starting to watch stuff online, or like we project our TVs and stuff like that. So I can come here and put Hulu, Netflix, HBO Go, Disney Plus, and all of them on a nice quick Symbaloo. So I can just click, 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 and I can make them all visual. And there you go. That's for your life. Going back to work, this is awesome because it's different ways to learn. So notice what they did is instead of grouping, they used the color coordination for the color of each tile. So I know that these go together, the red ones go together, the blue ones go together, the yellow ones go together. So this is a good representation of using your colors to help group. But it's also good because if I want to learn time management, I can click here and it's going to bring me to wherever to learn time management. Okay, shoppers, affordable fashion. So notice they use like little pictures. It's probably little stock images of people, and they use their names really well. So notice it has Kohl's and Taylor and American Eagle and all that kind of stuff. This one is kind of funny because it looks like that's her legs. I'm sure they did that on purpose. And his leg. I thought that was, I'm a 13-year-old girl sometimes, but I thought I was like, hee hee hee. But there you go. So they use their names really well. And you see like they took this picture and did that. And so there you go, just to give you some examples. Search engines. So if I want to put certain things on there for my students, not only wanted them to go to certain places, this is a nice, very simple Symbaloo for that. So they put search engines that they wanted their students to use. And instead of putting them all in like Schoology or all in Google Classroom, and you can just put them all in a Symbaloo and send that one link to them. And now they're all in a Symbaloo. They're all visual, especially for your younger learners too. You know, this is easier sometimes for them to see the color or see the icon and know that's what they're supposed to click on. Personal. Hey, any sports fans? So here you go. I love what they did with the WNBA, right? So they took that and put it, you know, and then because it's making up this icon, they use their words wisely. So home, playoff series, players, statistics, schedules. So you know exactly what you're clicking on, even though all of the tiles make up a picture. So any of my people that are into sports or really anything else, think about the different ways you can use this in your real life to organize your life. So another school one that used like K, first grade, second grade, third grade, up to fifth grade. And they left the little, they left the, what do you call that? The titles on here. I almost think they could have taken the titles off because all they say is kindergarten Symbaloo, first grade Symbaloo. So they really could have taken that off and just had the numbers and the letters. But they also used the background colors to kind of group things as well. And they used the actual marker. And you notice when I hover over the marker, it says EDU tools. So they use the marker and they name the marker. So it'll say something when you hover over it. So I like to show this one because even though it's not color coordinated, it looks really organized because they use the same color for everything and the same symbol for everything. So this one is really going to be on what are the words on these tiles. But I like to show you different because sometimes you're like, aha, and it kind of makes you think. So there you go. We have one with documents. So this school was like, you know what? We're not doing 50,000 websites and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to put everything on the Symbaloo and be done. So we have personnel, we have information, we have schedules, we have technology work orders. Like, think about how awesome this is. And they use the color coordination. So, even that black kind of stands out. Just think about the different ways you can use this to organize. So more things just about living, like, okay, this is what I need when I need to build something. This is what I need when I want my coupons. So just more living examples. And I'm going to go through these pretty quickly now that we're kind of getting the point. So staff. So this is strictly for staff. So you have your time off, your Gmail, the link to the website for the school. I don't care what you're into Fine China. There you go. Anytime you want to collect information, I've even seen people do wedding planning on Symbaloo, and they put all the little links to, just y'all. Unblock games at school. I don't know if a student did this one, but unblock games at school. So it's like, hey, if I want a quick game, there you go. Personal finance, I don't know if you're getting into investing and that kind of stuff. You can put everything like those YouTube channels that you really want to keep track of, all that kind of stuff. Virtual field trips are here. And any of these, if you're like, I want that one, go search. I just did a search and I put them here. So virtual field trips, if you're into camping, all kind of like the best campgrounds, all that kind of stuff. People of power. So this is one that they use the people's pictures, but they also use the name. So 25 most evil people, the times 30th most influential. But if I know any of these people, my eyes are going to be drawn directly to them. So using your pictures wisely. Pregnancy information, baby singer, parent weekly, all that good stuff. This is another one for the staff at a school. Travel agencies. So I know a lot of us may start traveling this summer, so you can kind of have all that in one spot. High school English. So this is a specific one for one, what do you call that? One class. And they pretty much just use colors. And I thought that was pretty cool because it's a concentrate on the word and let's go. And they just made it as colorful as possible. Relationship counseling. So this is one where they put the pictures and they did really well with putting the pictures of the tiles. High school counseling. So if you're thinking about how do I get all of these things out to my students, there you go. FAFSA, college information, discount. So if you're a savvy, what do you call that? Shopper, there you go. Kindergarten. So you see they use that kind of big pictures and things like that. Fitness. Another one for the school where they use nice color coordination. Different music sites, a high school site where they use their sports teams. Remember I said I was going to show you one where they did really well with the cutting off pictures. Like this could be like a yearbook, right? And then last but not least, your insurances. Since we all have to have insurances, you can keep all your medical stuff in one place. So just some quick examples of ways that you can use what I just showed you. In real life and for your teaching life. So I'm going to stop for questions.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, Doctor. This is great. You really dug into it. I'm sure it looked like I was looking through some of the comments on YouTube, and it looked like a lot of people enjoyed your the digging, the nitty gritty, the details, especially the tile bookmarker. How you can import your tiles from your web browsers and things like that. So
Yeah.
this is great. This is great information. And again, everyone, this is recorded. You can access it on Symbaloo's YouTube channel. Um, you know, we'll also be sending that email to you with a bunch of resources. But Doctor, if you're finished, we can definitely go into the Q&A part. I have a
Please.
colleague in the back end who's been collecting some questions, so I'll go down the list. If there's anything for you, I'll just hand it over to you. But anything Symbaloo related, excuse me, I'll go ahead and answer that. So let me start working my way down the list. So we have Ms. Thornton. We have, if this is the first interaction with Symbaloo and we don't have an account yet, should we set it up? Should we purchase it? Is there a promo code? Thank you. So yeah, this is, we recommend opening a free account and trying everything out first before you commit to buying. Our free accounts are very functional. Basically everything that you saw here, you can do within the free account. As Dr. Alex mentioned earlier in the webinar, our free accounts are ad supported. That is how we are able to provide you this tool for free. And the paid subscriptions will remove ads, plus add a little bit more functionality. But we do, as I mentioned earlier, we do have a free pro account for teachers. So that would add the web space extension, which I will actually show you. Let me show you now. I'll share my screen here just to show everyone. There are a couple of questions that, that were asked. So let me go ahead and share here. Great. So as you see here, I am on educatoralex.symbaloo.com. So this is Dr. Alex's personal Symbaloo web space here. So any of you, this is a public domain. So if you visit educatoralex.symbaloo.com, you can actually visit her page here, the Symbaloo web space, and access some of the resources that she has put together for you to use. One of the handy features of this is if you do have a Symbaloo account, you'll see a little green pin or follow button at the top. I'll actually open up another one, feature ready librarians.symbaloo.com, excuse me there. This is Shannon Miller. If any of you are returning webinar viewers, you might have remembered Shannon Miller, who created a nice little web space for Future Ready Librarians. Actually, I'm logged in, so it wouldn't show it, but there we go. So you'll see this will be up on Dr. Alex's web space hopefully sometime tomorrow. We just pushed out some of those changes, but it'll take the site some time to recognize it. So if you visit educatoralex.symbaloo.com, you will see that green button there for you to pin. And you will see that on the left-hand side here of your Symbaloo account. So we have a little navigation bar where you can access your web mixes. And below it, if you have a web space, you'll see it there. And then any of the followed web spaces, you'll find below that. And you can follow and add multiple web spaces. So for example, if I click the Add a Public Web Space, you'll see that we have some other verified web spaces, the education.symbaloo.com web space here, and you'll see a little description below. So you can click on any of these, such as Mr. Cook's Corner. He makes some great YouTube videos talking about different tech tools and things like that. So you can click on that and then click the follow button. Or if you were on that page, it'll automatically show on the left-hand side. So you can do that for Dr. Alex's web space there. Another thing is the web space. So to add on to the web space, you'll see, let me actually log into my personal account quickly just to show you. So the differences between the personal and the pro accounts. So the personal accounts, you may not see all of these here. Again, these are just the web spaces, but the personal account will not provide you with a web space. So you'll see here, I have mrbriansclass.symbaloo.com, which is my demo account, similar to educatoralex.symbaloo.com. Now, this is a different way of sharing. I won't get too far into that because we are deep into the webinar here and want to answer some questions. But again, the slide deck we'll be providing afterward will explain the differences between the personal and the pro accounts with web spaces, how to share your web mixes to the public domain, which we consider publishing there. So you publish these here, and how to share your web mixes normally through a personal account. So I just wanted to add on to that really quick before we move on. So let me go ahead and go back down the questions list here. Amy is asking if there's a link to your presentation, Doctor. Do you want to link that to one of the tiles on your web space? We can also add a link to that on our post-webinar email. I'm assuming you're okay with sharing that, correct?
Absolutely.
Great. Okay, yeah, so let's just put that in the post-webinar email. So keep an eye out for the email. Again, if you don't see that email come in, feel free to reach us. You can reach us at feedbacken@symbaloo.com. And then that my colleague might have shared that on the YouTube comments. So keep an eye out for that. You'll see feedbacken@symbaloo.com would be the email to our support. And then we can share that link to you or answer any other questions that you may have. Let me continue going down the list here.
I saw a question. Can I quickly answer it?
Absolutely.
So someone asked about adding YouTube videos or playlists. So again, as long as you have a link to it, you're good. So if I want to add a YouTube video, I can come to the correct share link right underneath the video and click copy. And then when I bring it back to my Symbaloo, click here, go ahead and put the link, add tile, and then it's here. If you want to right click and edit, you can also tell it to embed directly in Symbaloo. So when people click on it, it's still in Symbaloo. So it didn't take them to YouTube. They can still click watch on YouTube, but it embedded in Symbaloo. If you don't want it to embed in Symbaloo, then you, of course, can click edit and just make it a regular website. So I did want to answer that question quickly.
Yeah, wonderful. That is a very important important detail there. So thank you for that. And please feel free to interject there. This is also very important. So anyone that's joining us here today, we do offer a PD hours certificate so that you can turn in and add to your professional development training hours or anything like that. Please feel free to email me personally at brian@symbaloo.com. It'll be BRYAN@symbaloo.com. Please, any support questions, direct those to feedbacken@symbaloo.com. But if you're looking for that professional development training hours certificate, please go ahead and reach out to me and I will get one of those for you. Just send your name, your email, and then I'll get that done and sent back to you.
And this is an embedded one. I did say I was going to show them an embedded one. So this is embedded into my website.
Great. Yeah. Go ahead and show that again. Let's see. Oh, maybe I was on a different tab, so I didn't see. I'm not sure if you. Yeah. Great.
So just wanted to quickly show you.
Yeah. So you can embed those into your blogs, your websites, anything, any page that you have, a WordPress site or anything like that. As Doctor just showed you, you can do that. Now let's keep going down here. We have can you hide links and folders from students until you want them to be able to view it? For example, I teach science and have different science units. Could I make a folder for each unit and hide them? So you technically cannot hide certain tiles or folders. What you can do here is you can have different web mixes depending on the type of account that you are working with. If you're working with a free personal account without web spaces, you can just share individual web mixes and then kind of have them access it as they need them. Or what you can do is we have in the Symbaloo Pro web spaces, the Pro version, you can upload your web mixes or publish them to your web space. Let me actually share my screen to show really quick. You can publish those, publish the web mixes to your web space. As you see here, I created this little webinar test web mix here. Let me actually go to, I'm not going to be logged in, but Mr. Brian's class.symbaloo.com. You don't have to access this. This is just for me to show you. So these are the different web mixes that I published to my public domain for Symbaloo Pro accounts. And let's say if I go back to my, my web mixes list here, what you can do, just to show you that there are multiple web mixes, you can access those here. You can have your list of web mixes and kind of hide them from the top here. That won't delete them. I just wanted to mention that. It'll just hide them and put them on the side here. This is only personal to you. But if you want to hide them from your students, for example, this webinar web mix, if I want to publish that here and publish it to my public web space, now that I want my students to access this set of resources, I'll simply click that publish button. So again, publish up at the top. It'll bring you to this prompt here and click publish on the web space. Now, if I go back and refresh the page, any of those web mixes that I've published will then be visible publicly to my students or anyone that visits my domain, mrbriansclass.symbaloo.com. And if you want to remove that, you can actually do so again, going back into your account. And these buttons here, you have the gray unpublished button. One thing I do want to mention is if you do make any changes to these web mixes, moving tiles, adding them, or so forth, you want to republish them. This is also for the general sharing for any web mix updates that you make, whether you're publishing them to a web space or just sharing them on your personal accounts. You want to republish because you can think of them as timestamps. So anytime you make a change, you're then agreeing to push that out to your students. And this is just in case you make a little boo-boo, a little error or something, or you're just not ready to share. You can just click on that there. But I'll unpublish, and I can come back here, refresh it, and that will be gone. So my students won't be able to see that. That's currently what we have available on top of our Symbaloo Pro groups, which is a little more technical. You'll see this little folder here. This will require your students to have an access code, which you get upon creating the code. So for example, if you have that science, special period or whatever maybe after school, whatever, they'll need an account, they'll log in with the code, and then they can actually access any additional web mixes that you've shared with that private group. This will be explained in the slide deck that I'll be sharing post-webinar. So keep an eye out for that. Are there any other questions that you see, Dr. Alex? I have a few more here on this sheet, but maybe you wanted to answer one or two that you saw.
I was trying to answer them in the chat. I went ahead and pulled up the YouTube, so I don't.
Oh, got it. Okay, great.
I think a lot of them were answered.
Okay, cool. Then let me keep going down this list. We have a few more here. So Laureen asks, can tiles or groups be duplicated and then edited? So you can actually copy a tile from one web mix to another. Let me actually show you, because there was another similar question on how to move tiles between different web mixes. So maybe I should just keep my screen shared here and I'll show you. So we have, let's say, this Khan Academy tile, right? If you right click it, you have this little copy move button. So you can't necessarily duplicate one within the same web mix, but you can more so copy it. If I want to do, let me pull up a web mix here first. If I go into my web mix list, I'll pull up school resources. I apologize for the siren here. Welcome to New York. But we have the school resources web mix that I just pulled up. And if I click on the webinar one and I right click on any of the tiles that I want to move or copy, I'll click on copy and move. And now I can choose from the drop-down menu here. I have school resources at the top, and you have this little checkbox that says, I want to copy the tile. So I want this tile available on both web mixes. Or if you just want to move it all together, you will untick that and leave that blank so it moves it completely. But if you want to copy it, click on that, click move tile. You'll see that that's there. And it'll also appear here within the other web mix here. And you can remove them or edit the settings or even share your tiles by clicking and dragging up at the top. So just another little tip there. But for the other person, again, that asked how to move tiles between different web mixes, that is one method, the copy move button here by right clicking. And another one is you can simply just click and drag it over to a web mix tab and let it go right on top of it. And now you'll have the tile there, and you can move them back and forth if you decide to do so. Let me continue here. So Someone asks, can marker areas be labeled? Yes, they can. So if you can, yeah, my screen is still shared here. So, so the labels, so we'll click on settings and we'll click on add a new marker just to click and drag over a nice little section. And that new marked area here, if you click on that, you have this little text field. You can then, you know, type in whatever you want. Type in whatever. Oops, wow, can't spell. Type in whatever. Click Save Marker, and now that is saved. And if you hover over the little tab here, you'll see it up at the top. Also, if you hover over the group section, you'll see it up here, up at the top. So you can label these sections here. Another question, how do I change the share settings? So if you go through the different, let me go through the different share options that we have here. So up at the top, we have the share button. So if you click on share, you have a nice little button to copy that link to the clipboard. So once you're ready to share, this is the main sharing method for the Symbaloo personal accounts without the pro web spaces. If you click copy to clipboard and you share that link, it'll take your students or the recipient of that link to this preview page. And again, you'll see those tiles there. If you do make any changes to your web mix, say, for example, move a tile, add a new tile, you'll see up at the top, it'll have this little button or notification kind of reiterating that you want to make or republish that. Basically, it'll update that if you click it, and you'll see down at the bottom, you get that prompt. Those changes will be pushed out, and then your student just needs to refresh the page so they can access those changes. Let me get back into here. We have additional sharing methods, so share by email, by social channels. If you do have a Google Classroom account, you can actually assign the webmix or share the webmix through Google Classroom there. You have a blogger share button, as well as that embed button if you do want to embed the webmix to a website or anything like that, as Dr. Alex had shown you. And if you just want to stop sharing, you click the stop sharing button at the bottom. But the last one is if you do want to share it publicly with everyone else and have some resources that you want to share with Symbaloo users, click share in the gallery, and that'll now be discoverable there in the gallery. And you can always, you know, stop sharing that and so forth. So those are some of the share options here for the personal account. And then again, the pro account will then have the publish button where you can then publish to any of the web spaces that you have or any of the groups that you've created here. So those are different sharing methods. Kara says, I teach kinders. Is there any way to get rid of the middle part of Symbaloo web search info when shared to my kiddos? So you can't completely remove the center box. What you can do is you can change it. If you go into your preferences, so click on your user icon or your name at the top right, go into your preferences, you can just choose a center box here. So we actually have a safe search, which is safe for kids, additional search options there. But you also have this little drop-down menu. So you can check out, you know, Suite Search, the Symbaloo search, or if you just want something to fill in without a search, you can select the time feature here. And we'll click Save Settings. And if you go back to Symbaloo, it'll have the time here. If you type in, it should be, let's see if I type, actually that's down here, time and date. I'm not sure, maybe this is something that we need to fix. I have not checked this feature in some time. So this is something that I will share with developers, but you have that little time feature, time and date. So that way it's not, your students don't have to, or have the option to search. Let's see, a couple more. Can you link a web mix within another web mix? So yeah, you can actually link web mixes within other web mixes. This goes for both the personal free accounts as well as the pro accounts. So what you can do is, for example, the school resource web mix, if I want to click the share button, copy that link to my clipboard and go back into the webinar web mix here, we'll just click and create a new tile, paste the link, add the tile. And now if I click on that, it'll take, whoa, what happened here? It'll take you to the webmix preview that we saw earlier here. So you can do that as well as with the pro accounts. If you are on, for example, with a pro account with a pro web space, if you have a webmix, let me go back to the public webmixes here. They must be public for you to be able to link them back. So for the school resources one, share link. We'll just copy that link here and we'll do the same thing. So you can then create a new tile, you can create a new tile with that webmix link. But make sure that it has the little alphanumeric end to it if you want them to access the actual webmix that you selected here. So you'll see this at the end. You can copy that and then add that to the link there. Add tile, and once they click on that, it'll take them directly to the school resources webmix that you have shared or published to that web space. Another question, we have 3 more here. If you change and add to your bookmarks, if you change or add to your bookmarks, does Symbaloo update automatically? No, it does not update automatically. As I shared just a bit ago, you want to click share or update those changes, or click the the button at the top, so that way it'll refresh and basically push out any of those changes that you have made. So think of them again as timestamp copies. Any changes you make, you'll then want to click that share button, or when you have them shared, published through a public web space, publish, and make sure you hit that republish button anytime that you've made a change. So someone from Guatemala is saying that Spanish webinars are very important to your students. So we are working on that. As you can tell, we're not speaking Spanish here. We did hire somebody that speaks Spanish, and we're trying to put some stuff together. We don't see a day when we will be hosting Spanish webinars, at least in the near future. Could be sometime this summer, but we will be trying to make some videos in Spanish and try and share some more Spanish content. That slide deck, let me actually show you here with the resources. This is the slide deck that you'll be getting in PDF format that has an introduction to what Symbaloo is, how you can create your accounts. It talks about registration, navigation. This is also in Spanish. If you want to reach out to us, we can actually send you that as well. So you can use this for now. It's a very comprehensive slide deck, so it talks about everything, and this is in Spanish, so hopefully this helps you. And then the last question is, hey, is there a search feature coming when looking for icons? So I'm not sure if you mean icons within the tile editor here. Let me just right click on a tile. If I click edit, you have the icons here. Basically, it'll just be scroll. We have the little drop down menu here, so you can choose a different type of icon, and then you can just search through here and click an icon to change it. But there's no search. You can upload your own custom image, as Dr. Alex has shown in the webinar. So that's currently what we offer. But that will be it. Those are all the questions that I have. Doctor, if you have any.
Hello? Oh, okay, well, no, I actually don't have any other questions or anything to input at this time.
Looks like I got kicked off. I don't know what happened.
Hello? Uh-oh.
Hey. Sorry, but yeah, if there's nothing else, then we can conclude the webinar. Yeah, keep an eye out for the email. Everyone will receive it. Check your spam or your junk folders. We'll share the getting started slide deck as well as Dr. Alex's presentation here. And if you have any questions for us, please go ahead and reach out to us at feedbacken@symbaloo.com. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and thank you, Doctor. This is great.
Thank you. It was really fun just talking about organizing your life and organizing your teaching life. So thank y'all for spending time with me. I know time is very valuable, so thank you for spending time with me, and hopefully I gave you some good information.
You definitely did. I'm sure everyone's pretty excited, and they're ready to use Symbaloo or get back into the personalization side of it. So thank you for all of that. Yeah, and we will sign off from the YouTube. I think now.